Yeah, so for me, being a Sikh is really important because it's a way of life. So for me, I can draw so much from Gurbani and Sikhi in terms of, so just reading Gurbani and listening to Gurbani, for example, for me is really important, and it's done on a daily basis because it kind of feeds what I need. You know, it's really difficult to explain that without it. So, for example, in my house, for the last 7 years where I live, we've always had Sukhmani Sahib on repeat. It's never been switched off. And the reason for that is because I grew up with Sukhmani Sahib being on repeat in my house throughout all these years, and it's kind of, it's become so accustomed to my ear, and if I don't hear it, it doesn't feel quite right. So it's become a real way of our life. You know, it's a way of my husband's. Even though we're not listening to it constantly because we're not in the kitchen, it's always there, and you can hear it in some, you know, and it just creates this ambience and feeling in the home, which is very difficult to explain to anyone really, but I think those that kind of understand that would know. So Sikhi for me is about drawing on a philosophy, on value base, on a system of how to live our lives and how to be better Sikhs and better human beings. And you can only do that by reflecting. And Gurbani teaches us that actually your learning starts in Grist Jeevan. You know, Grist Jeevan is very important, so when you're married. And it's absolutely true, because how you nurture, how you love, how you give to your immediate families, how you then should translate that out into the wider world. You know, our faith is so, you know, in terms of modernity, in terms of how progressive and how open and the value base it has in terms of recognizing that we're all one and recognizing we're one with everything, is a really, really amazing way to live life. But that's it, I'm not there. And God knows how far I am, but actually that I love it. That's what I love, the fact that, you know, absolutely, it's absolutely right, and I want to get there. And I think the challenge for us is that in everyday journey and everyday, you know, being consumed by work and pressures and then home pressures, is where do you actually get the time to have that reflection, to think about and give your time to Gurbani. So that's really important. So it's capturing those moments. So whether it's on the journey to work and your headphones and you listen to Gurbani and Kirtan, whether it, you know, in the day you find a moment, you know, if you're passing the Gurdwara, you're able to Matha Tek, you know, when you're at home with your children, you know. So, you know, one of the things, because of my parents, you know, it's really interesting. I always did Kirtan Sola at night with my daughters, and now if I try to forget to do it, they'll remind me. They'll say, no, we're not going to sleep until you don't Kirtan Sola, Mom. And it's interesting with their ages, 6 and 5, that they probably know most of it heart by heart. And you know, it was only a couple of months ago I was talking to my husband, and he was saying, I think it's really nice that you do that. And I was like, okay. He said, yeah, you know, and he said, because they really value that. You know, it's really something important to them, because I told them the message, what it means about Guru Gobind Singh Ji and protecting you, and so they feel really protected by that. And the fact that they knew it heart by heart really quite astounded me, and it made me realise, look how much they can pick up about their identity and their Sikhi. And Sikhi is so beautiful because, you know, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Bani is just, when you read it, the depth, it's just incredible, you know. How could anybody not want to read it? I don't think we're I don't think we're very good at sharing to our young people, you know, our young generation, about the beauty of Gurbani. And I think that's where our institutions and our Gurdwara have kind of let it down. But I see that Gurdwaras are much more progressive now, and they're engaging children and doing lots of events and getting young people to be part of that. And that's an absolute must. Any Gurdwara that doesn't have, you know, facilities for young people, or doesn't see a mass congregation of young people, is not doing something quite right, in my view, because that's what Gurdwaras are about. They should be filled, they should have hustle and bustle. They should be institutions of excellence, actually. It shouldn't just be about coming to do Matha Tek or Gurbani and Santya. You know, it should be about institutions of excellence and higher learning. So how do we support leadership in our young people? What does it look like for them? How does Sikhi support and enhance that leadership? So that's the kind of vision I'd like to see Gurdwara have in the future, because it's really important. So for me, everything I do has some element of Sikhi in it. Whether I define it as Sikhi, I would say it does. My social work has an element of Sikhi in it. You know, the fact that, you know, we work with children to safeguard them, to protect them from harm is an everyday, it's a blessing to be doing that job, to be able to serve. But that is a Sikh key value of helping others and trying to make their lives much better as a result of that. So I think the Sikh key principles and values are universal in that sense, you know. And so it's look, you could you know, follow any path. The fact that we're born as Sikh, you know, Sikhi says if you're born a Sikh, be a good Sikh, you know, and that's what I try to do. And I think, you know, the fact that I did do Amrit, I've always thought about redoing Amrit. I would like to do it though with my husband, because I think I recognise how important that journey and that space is as a couple. It's really easy for me to do it, but actually then it kind of, I don't want it to create a divide in terms of our path and where one is and where the other is. And I think sometimes that, you know, you do your ardas for that. You know, that Maharaj gives you that, you know, mat, and he bakshes you with Amrit in the future. But so yeah, so let's see. I hope he will be ready one of the days. But yeah, you know, and I think it's really important though. Like one of the things he was talking about, you know, to me was that more and more as he's getting older and he sees that, you know, we had all these differences when we were growing up, you know, that he doesn't feel that actually we are all one, as you know, Ek Omkar says that we are all one, but actually we can't understand the power of just Ek Omkar, what it means, you know, but actually we're one with everything, and that is the truth really. And so when you just read the Mool Mantra and it just the basic, that's just one basic part out of the whole Gurbani, it's so powerful. It gives you a complete message really. So being a Sikh is really, really important, and having a Sikh way of life is even more important, yeah. But there is a challenge in terms of how much you consciously apply that to your everyday living. So the key is to be more conscious and aware of that. And never to shy away from talking about Sikhi. You know, I see far too often we get so embarrassed, or we don't want to say things when we're out there in public domain, and we worry about what somebody else might say, they might not understand us. We should never feel that ever, because actually our faith has got some incredible stuff. It's more progressive in many ways than others, you know. So yeah, we shouldn't shy away from that, talking about it.